morning, everyone. This is Dr. Cortez for the market research and consumer behavior subject. We are now in lesson 8, and this one is entitled the marketing data and collection analysis. And those are my credentials, and let's go to the first slide. So this one is about the learning outcomes of the lesson today. After the lesson, these are the things that you are capable of doing. Identify and discuss different tools in data and collections, analysis, understand marketing research, data, vocabulary, and how it is used by marketing professionals. Compile, analyze, and use marketing research data as a decision-making tool to help them to solve problems and make decisions. While for the topic, these are the topic, we're going to talk about the primary data and market research, secondary data, designing a questionnaire, how to measure and scale our consumers' attitude, target population and sampling, then the categorical data, metric data, and hypothesis testing. So hopefully we can be able to finish everything in our list of topics for today. And for the first slide, so pag-usapan natin yung mga primary data. We have two types of data, the primary data and secondary data. Primary data is information collected through original research. So kung sino nag-collect ng data sa yung researcher, no? If the data is collected by the researcher himself, herself, that is primary data. Example, you are the one who surveyed, you are the one who asked questions, you are the one who experimented, you are the one who interviewed yung mga respondents. That is primary data. So pag nag-survey tayo ngayon, pag nag-survey kayo sa inyo yung mga subject na research next year, ito yung ating or next sem pala, next sem, no? Next sem, you have market research. I know. So, yun yung mga primary data. Kasi ikaw nag-collect eh. It can be survey, it can be interview, it can be focus group discussion. Basta ikaw yung nag-collect ng sa mga respondents. Those are primary data. Example, their demographic profile, their preferences, their recommendations. Those are primary data. The second one, the type of data is the secondary data. Ito yung mga data na collected in the past by someone else or by other researcher, tapos ginamit mo. Example, you go to the library, then you found a research result, either from thesis, case analysis, dissertation, tapos ginamit mo as reference in your research. Those are secondary data. Okay? Example, you found in the news, mga statistic, you found in an online article, isang statistics about online marketing. Those are secondary data kasi somebody else collected or searches on the data. Tapos ginamit mo lang sila. Example, if you use my research, tapos you cited me as your reference, that is secondary data. Pag hindi ko nangolekta, that is secondary data. So those are the two types of data na yung gagamitin sa inyong research subject. Sa example, sa chapter 2 reviewed of related literature, those are secondary data. Pero dun sa resultant chapter 4 and chapter 5 mo sa inyong research, those are from your own research. So those are primary data. For example, if a company wants to study the preference of consumers for a new type of fabric style, then it must conduct primary research like survey, interview, focus group, discussion. And usually, collection of primary data is costly. Mas magastos, time-consuming. You have the effort, you will exert effort, time, resources, financial in conducting primary data. Kasi you will go places, you will interview, for example, 150 respondents. Okay? Tapos you will spend some time, resources, transportation, meal, token of appreciation sa mga sinasurvey mo. So that is costly. Trabaho siya, no? Samantalang yung secondary data, this is less costly. But it is fast. Secondary is fast and you can control biases pag sinabi natin secondary data. Why very fast? Kasi nga, you go to the library and you will find result of researches without interviewing somebody. So, mabilis siya. And control biases kasi you can choose, you can verify kung bias ang result ng isang research. Pag bias siya, di mo sasama sa inyong discussion, sa inyong interview, sa inyong study. So, those are the advantage of primary data over secondary data. And what is an example of primary data in market research? It involves going directly to a source, usually customers and prospective customers in your target market. Example, in your research, your target market are teenagers. So, you have chosen talagang specific ang iyong target ng mga respondents. You will ask their demographic profile. Example, demographic profile, age, gender. Civil status pag teenager, hindi na masyado, no? But if you are targeting, example, mga high school, yan, pwede sa may demographic profile. Kasi ang high schoolers, ano sila, iba-ibang age. If your target are young adults, for example, o pwede mo lang isama yung yung kanilang civil status. Kasi yung young adults can be single, married, or separated. You can also include their income level. Ayan. Or how long are they working in a particular company. Pwede rin siyang mga general, mga gumagamit ng online shopping. It can start with teenagers hanggang 60 and above na mga respondents. Okay, so you ask questions and gather data dun sa mga respondents. Example, you are conducting research online about the risk in online shopping. So you may ask them about what online platform are they using, how many times are they doing online shopping, what are their perceived risk in online shopping. So examples pa of primary research interviews, you can do this telephone or face-to-face. Of course, may mga advantages pag telephone interview. Telephone interview, convenient for you kasi you don't have to travel to different places to meet your respondents pag telephone interview. Of course, the disadvantage of telephone interview in gathering data, you don't see the faces, the emotion, the reactions of your respondents. Hindi mo alam kung tama kung seryoso sila sa kanilang ginagawang interview pag telephone. Baka mamaya, di ba, kunwari lang, you don't see the reactions. So sometimes you supplement your telephone interview with face-to-face or on-site or in-person interview. Of course, may disadvantage ang in-person interview. Kunti lang may interview mo. Example, your respondents are 150. You can't interview the whole 150. Pag limited ang time mo, pag example 4 months lang ngayong time, you cannot interview 150 respondents. So that is the disadvantage, no? Kunti lang and time consuming. Tapos you will spend resources in gathering data kasi you will meet them in a venue. Then example, siyempre may food consideration yan, di ba? You don't pwedeng mag-interview ng face-to-face nang wala man lang token of appreciation or food or dinner or lunch. So limited. But the advantage of in-person interview or face-to-face, siyempre, mas seryoso yung in-interview mo kasi you're spending, example, an hour in interviewing them and basta hindi ka nagmamadali, no? Another one, advantage, you will see their expression, emotion, yung seriousness ng mga respondents mo kung totoo yung kanilang sinasabi. And of course, you can go deeper dun sa mga tanong. You can ask the reason why that is the answer of the respondents in a particular question. You can ask in depth. That is, you can ask open-ended questions. Although may dalawang klase ng questions sa interview, the open and the close-ended question. Important, no? Hindi lang A, B, C, D yung kanilang respond. You can go beyond. Which we cannot do sa isang telephone interview. Masyadong nagmamadali pag telephone interview kasi. So, you cannot sometimes verify yung reason. Unlike sa face-to-face job all the time. And another one, gathering data, primary data gathering is the survey. During the pandemic, online survey are allowed. But now, you can do survey in person na. Dapat. Okay? So, it can be online or mail. And it can also be in person. O pag in person, talagang you are assured na kung sinong respondent, sila yung sumagot nung survey mo. Kaya lang matrabaho din ng survey. And risky for you. Kasi if there is a random interview, so hindi pwedeng pag may nakita kang 10, ibibigyan mo kasi random. That is okay, no? Pag ang iyong sampling method technique is purposive sampling, so pwede yun. May nakita kang 10, o bigyan mo ng questions, ng questionnaire. Because that is done random. Pag sinabi ng advisor mo na random ang iyong gagawin, random sampling ang iyong gagawin, so matagal siya. Ang survey can be done online. The advantage of online or mail survey, you can just send them the link sa iyong mga respondents. So, speedy, no? Fast. Pag sinabi nating online survey. The disadvantage of online survey, o baka mamaya yung respondents mo, hindi silang sumasagot. Pag online survey, mahirap sa maging random sampling. Pag online survey, nagmamadali. Check lang ng check yung mga respondents mo. Kasi wala namang tumitingin sa kanila, so they can check whatever they want even without thinking dun sa mga tanong. O pag survey online, mabilis nga siya, di ba? But you cannot verify yung kanilang mga sagot sa kanilang mga response. Okay? So those are the sample of primary data gathering in market research. Okay, so let's go to questionnaire in research sample. So the questionnaires are being written after your chapter 3. Kasi sa research, meron kang chapter 1, chapter 2, then chapter 3. So after finishing chapter 3, ito na yung tayo nagsusulat na kayo ng inyong survey questionnaire. And questionnaire, survey, that is based on your objective. Kung anong objectives mo, yun ang itatanong mo sa iyong survey questionnaire. So example, you have 8 objectives. Hindi meron ka mga around 7 questions din sa iyong questionnaire. For example, your boss wants you to begin working from home. They want to find out more about the technology requirements you need to work efficiently from home. They then invite you to fill out a questionnaire by handing you a piece of paper and a pen. The piece of paper handed to you is the questionnaire. The results that you input into the questionnaire are used to discover information about you as an individual rather than a group of people. Now, inside your company, you can answer questions, no? Example that is needed by the company, needed by your boss, needed by your office. Mga in-house questions to improve operation, to improve, to know what products are your suggestions about products to be launched by your company. Ayan, mga sample ng questionnaire sa loob ng iyong office for improvement, opportunity for improvement of your own company. Example, dito sa sample natin, what type of technology na you are needing. Example, you will be asked to work from home. Ayan, sa mga school, dito sa ating school, meron ditong survey minsan, no? Survey in-house given by the school about improvement of customer service, improvement of operation, how to improve operation, products to be launched, service to be launched. Yun. Pero sa mga survey natin, we are doing this outside. Our respondents are from the outside. Our customers, no? Kasi nga, we should not be selling something. We should not be making products that are not needed by our customers. So, we should be doing survey if what products are feasible. Parang nag-feasibility study ka na before launching a type of product to be sold, o mag-survey ka muna sa labas if what are needed by your customers, saka mo siya gawin yung product na yan. So, yung importance ng market research sa isang company, sa isang business. Sabi ko you cannot avoid doing market research. Laging kailangan niyo yung market research sa inyong mga business, no? Huwag kang gumawa ng product na ikaw lang may alam. You should know the needs of your customers. Okay, so let's move to the next one. Survey definition. A survey is the combination of questions, processes, and methodologies that analyze data about others, about the respondents. A survey always involves questionnaires, but a single questionnaire is only one small part of a survey. So, yung survey question is different from the survey process. When we see process, matagal. While survey question is just the form. So, sa inyong mga research, next SEM, mag-survey ka talaga, no? You're going to do a survey. So, the first process in doing the survey is to know the objective of your research. Example, what do you want to know from the respondents? Do you want to know their demographic profile? You want to know the age, gender, civil status, economic income level. You want to know the risks they are facing, how frequently they are buying, for example, what types of product they are buying, what platform are they using, what are the problems encountered, what are the recommendations. Yun mga normal or usual na tinatanong natin sa mga respondents. And those are the objectives. And based on the objectives, you're going to write the questions. So, example, objective number 1 will be your question number 1. Objective number 2 will be your question number 2. So, if you have already crafted your survey questionnaire, o siyempre, papacheck yan sa advisor. Na example sa akin, ako mag-check ko muna yan, no? Kung okay yung mga questions ninyo. Then pag okay na yan, mga questions ninyo, so, sige, ipacheck muna natin sa ano yan, sa mga expert. Kung meron sila mga suggestions, no? Example, that will be checked by 2 academic expert, 2 business person expert. Yan, ipapacheck sa kanila yan. Kung meron silang mga suggestions. Okay? Then, pag meron sa mga suggestions, you will revise, no? Kung meron kang dadagdag, they will revise. The students, the researchers will revise their questions. O pag na-revise na yan, o sige, mag-print po na tayo ng 10 piraso. Kasi after the validation, dapat meron kang pilot testing muna. Pilot testing means that will be tested. I-test muna natin sa mga non-respondents. Example, 10. Kung sabi nyo, sige, pwede pasagutan muna yung aming questions. Itetest lang namin kung meron pang mga errors, kung meron pang malabo, sa instruction, kung clear yung data. Ayan, kung masyadong mahaba, ipinasugutan mo sa pilot testing, 10 non-respondents. And based on their comments, you will now revise again. Example, may instruction na malabo. I-edit mo, no? Revise mo yung questions mo. Malabo kung bibilugan ba or chichikan yung tanong. O hindi siya clear o ulitin yung instruction. Or pag masyadong may mga redundant na tanong, sir, yung question number 2 ay parehas ng question number 3. Ulitin natin. And based on the pilot testing, i-revise ulit natin, edit ulit natin. So meron tayong final copy ng inyong mga questionnaire. After that, mag-print ka na, di ba? Then you will of course, you have the population, kung sino yung survey mo. Example, 3 companies, employees of 3 companies, survey mo sila. Okay? So, you will write a letter to the population. Yan, example, to the head of the HR, to the head of the company, na pwede ka mag-survey doon sa kanila. Or sa isang principal, example, your respondents are teachers, so we'll ask from the principal. You will write a letter to the principal, to the owner, to the dean, to school director. Okay? Yun, of course, sa iyong questionnaire, meron siyang letter, a short letter to the respondent sa taas na inyong questionnaire, no? Para you will introduce yourself to the respondents, kung sino ka, your names of researchers, in what school you're coming from, anong title lang yung research. Then you have the instruction. Okay, then you will distribute the questionnaires. Depends on it is online or on-site. And you give, of course, important you will give them enough time, ample time to answer the questions. Huwag minamadali, no? Kasi pag yan ay, if you have enough time, you can retrieve the questionnaires kinabukasan or after a couple of days. Para hindi ka nagmamadali. Kasi pag nagmamadali yan, it has an impact on the answers of the respondents, no? Pag nagmamadali ka. So, dapat you have enough time. And if you have already collected 100% of your survey questionnaire, the next step is the tabulation of data. And of course, the questionnaire should be properly numbered, no? Numberan nyo sila para pag nagtali ka, alam mo kung naisulat or hindi yung isang questionnaire. The tabulation, anyway, you are using Microsoft Excel in tabulating data. So, madali na magbilang, no? Hindi ka na magbibilang manually. Of course, you should know how to operate Microsoft Excel in research. Then after that, you will now analyze the data, interpret the data using tables, and you will now summarize the data. Then you present the data. And the last step is the publication of data. So those are the survey process ng isang survey questionnaire. So mahaba siya, di ba? But of course, pag sinabing survey, may questionnaire ka. It can be hard copy or soft copy ng isang questionnaire. Of course, the interview, the interviews take the form of a one-to-one or small group question and answer session, which can be conducted over the phone or in a face-to-face environment. So I have mentioned earlier mga benefit, advantage, and disadvantages of survey, di ba? Na pag-usapan na natin kanina. Why advantage ang survey? Why advantage ang in-person interview? But survey is the most common na ginagamit natin. Interviews are just supplemental sometimes. Interviews are most useful where a large amount of info needs to be collected from a small sample of subjects. So pag in-depth or talagang important, you need not just choice but the justification ng isang answer sa interview, isang question, you need an interview. If you want to justify, di ba, to verify ano yung pinaka-reason bakit yan ang kanilang sagot. If you need big information from a person, so you're doing interview. Pwede kang mag-interview ng isa ng mga expert. Ayan. Interviews are often used to obtain information from an expert about a specialist topic. Example, you want to create a new product for the company, then you're going to interview the marketing manager of the company, the production head of the company, about their inputs or insights on a new product to be launched by your company or by your organization. Mga specialist topic, no? Na hindi sa pang general audience. Example, mga research na highly personal. Kasi pag in-person interview, you can ask follow-up questions dun sa unang tanong nila, dun sa unang sagot nila. You can ask to ensure clarity, you want to clarify, to have justifications. Kapag survey, hindi mo pwedeng gawin yan no? Kasi pag survey, nag-check lang sila. Pero pag in-person interview, you can do follow-up questions or clarify, or you want to justify something from the interviewee. Na ginagawa natin yung interview. course, mas mas data or mas magandang data or info ang makukuha mo dito. Kaya lang, yan nga, sabi ko, time consuming. Tapos, konti lang respondents na makukuha mo. And after this one, meron tayong tinatawag na focus group discussions. Focus groups are used to collect data from a small group of people who are often subject matter experts in the topic of research. So the same thing, guys, no? If you want talagang expert opinion, not from a person but from a group of people. So ito ay ang pinagkaiba ng focus group discussion sa interview. Ang interview kasi, you're doing that individually. Example, you have 10 interviewees. So, isa-isa mo siyang in-interview. Itong focus group discussion kasi, you are doing this at once. Example, you have 7 experts. Sabay-sabay mo sila itatanong para sa panel discussion sa group sa isang table. You're launching a new brand of iPhone, of cellphone. Ayan. You're the manager of a cellphone company. Then you are introducing a new brand, a new version of a brand. Of course, you will gather here mga expert, example, the marketing, the finance head, the production, the sales team. Yan, mga workers, no? Yung ginagather mo dito, mga experts doon sa area, doon sa field, doon sa product. And you get their insights sabay-sabay. So parang di-discuss ko parang brainstorm. Maganda dito, brainstorming. Pag may sinabi yung isa, can be it can be they can agree on that one or they can oppose yung insight ng isang person. So brainstorming, no? So mas maganda siya kasi brainstorming talaga siya. At the end of the day, the result of the discussion will be that is really filtered out. Tanggal na yung mga blurry area, mga gray area, tanggal yan, no? Talagang we are very clear sa result. And dahil naman nag-uusap-usap, di ba? Discussion is initiated between the group members to discover their thoughts, expertise, opinions. This method is commonly used by business to gain insight into niche market and learn about their customers. So, the marketing people are really needed. The sales people are really needed sa ditong mga discussion. Kasi about the market, no? Hindi pwedeng production team lang. Ang production silang gumagawa but ang kumakausap sa customers, yung mga nasa marketing and sa sales team. So, they are really needed in this type of focus group discussion. Another disadvantage dito, marami kang i-collate na mga data from the different opinions, no? Hindi ka kaagad ba kapag you're not tabulating data, you're summarizing data, you're not tabulating data. Okay, and the next one, we have the observation technique. So ito yung pang-apat na type of gathering data. So ito yung medyo mahirap gawin, no? Kasi you have a CCTV. Example, you have two types of observation. You have a CCTV installed, observing the customers, or you yourself is the one really observing firsthand yung inyong mga customers. So observations are carried out impartially by simply observing an event and taking organized notes. Nag-note taking ka dito eh. Pag ikaw yung nagsusurvey in person, you are directly observing mga customers mo, then you are writing something in a notepad. You're writing notes. Yan, o dapat mabilis kang magsulat. Kasi pag marami kang customers and observing them, dapat mabilis kang magsulat. In this method, there's no direct interaction between the researcher and the subject. Hindi nila alam na sila ay sinasurvey. So, yung kanilang natural method, natural behavior, natural attitude, pag sila ay bumibili, nalilista mo. This method removes the potential bias which could be encountered during an interview. Pag interview kasi or survey, hindi man nila sinasabi lahat no, yung kanilang mga yung kanilang mga gusto. Meron silang you are holding back pag interview, pag survey. Pag observation technique, walang takas, no? Kung talaga yung inyong mannerism, hindi mo pwedeng itago yan. Sa isang observation technique, kung ba yung kanilang natural reaction, genuine reaction, yun talaga nagka-capture ng ating camera or tayo mismo. O pag hindi ikaw yung pag hindi ikaw yung mag-observe, you can hire a person to observe, to list down, to take notes about the observation. So this method is commonly used by a toy manufacturer when testing their products on children. So mga bata, di ba? Nilagay mo sa isang room, then maraming mga laruan, then may CCTV, and you want to get their natural reaction. Kung anong laruan yung kanilang unang pipiliin, kung anong kulay yung kanilang unang pipiliin, gaano sila katagal sa isang sa isang toys. It can also be done dun sa mga shopper mo, di ba? Example, meron kang CCTV and you want to know ano ba yung gusto, what is the preferred one of the customers. Sila bigla nalalapitan ng sales lady or sila mismo pipili ng mga damit or they want assistance from the sales lady. Para malaman natin. Or you want to know, example, isang magandang result ng survey, no, yung may dalawang product sa counter, yung isa nasa kanan, isa nasa kaliwa. And you want to observe by using a camera, pagpasok ng isang customer, saan yung kanilang unang pupuntahan na product, yung nasa kaliwa ng counter or yung nasa kanan ng counter. Ayan, walang daya yan, no? Walang walang inhibitions, walang bias. Kasi natural. At ang result ng survey, pag pumasok isang customer sa counter, more often than not, yung product sa kaliwa, yung kanilang unang bibilhin, yung kanilang unang pupuntahan at bibilhin. Ang reason, kasi nga majority of the respondents are right-handed. Pag right-handed ka raw, most of the time, ang direction mo ay pupuntang kanan. Yung mga product sa kanan, yun ang kanilang bibilhin. And that is from an observation. Of course, pag observation talagang you really need an expert, a psychologist to evaluate yung mannerism, yung actions ng mga shoppers sa loob ng iyong store. Kasi minsan mahirap magbasa ng action. And the psychologist, no, the psychologist major, they can read person like a book. Kaya nilang basahin yung mga actions. Kaya nga sabi dito, you can do this by camera or by trained observer. Pag hindi ka trained observer, you don't know how to read a person. So you can you can generalize. Mahirap mag-generalize ng data by just observing. Okay, so what is secondary data and market research? Ayan nga, no? Secondary data, again, ito yung mga data na it comes from reading. You're reading from the library, you are reading books, you're reading online articles, online researches. So ito yung mga data na mga secondary. So secondary data is the data that has already been collected ng ibang researcher. So pag nag-research kasi tayo, we are referring to work by other person, to work by other researchers in the field. Kaya nga, we are citing them. We should mention their names, no? Sa ating mga research. Kasi hindi tayong gumawa ng research na yon. We are just using the result of the research sa ating manuscript. Maditang collected through primary sources and made readily available for researchers sa mga susunod. Example, ako yung nag-research ngayon, 2026. Then I publish my research online. Then yung mga researchers in 2027 will be using my research as reference. So for them, that is secondary research. Pero sa akin, ako nag-survey, that is primary research. So, a type of data that has already been collected in the past. So, pag nag-research ka ngayon, pumunta ka library, ginamit mga research ng ibang batch doon, you're doing secondary research. So, hoping that the difference between secondary and primary data are clear for you guys now. So, let's go to the next question, next slide. Ito yung sample of closed format questionnaire. Now, maraming sa research kasi meron tayong quantitative research and qualitative research. Pag sinabing quantitative research, this one is a quantitative research. Quantitative kasi mag-check lang kayo dito, then bibilangin ko lang, itatabulate ko lang yung data kung ilan ang nag-check ng isang particular choice or indicator. So this is a closed format. Closed format kasi wala ka ditong, hindi ka pwede magbigay ng iyong sagot dito. Limited to 8 choices. Kaya closed format siya. Example, which of the following are the most common type of risk you encountered in online shopping? You may check those that apply to you. So dito sa question na to, you can ask as many, you can check as many choices as you want. Basta nag-a-apply sa'yo ha. Alin dito ang risk para sa'yo? Saan dito encountered mo na? O, encountered mo na yung defective products? Yes. O, checkan mo yung yes. Encountered mo na yung nawala yung product while in transit, ninakaw. O, checkan mo yan. Have you encountered fraud? Checkan mo yan. O, pwede kang check dito. Basta, as many as you want na na-encounter mo na, pwedeng lahat, checkan mo yan. Kung lahat na-encounter mo, di checkan mo lahat. So this one is an example of multiple response format. Multiple response kasi nga pwede ka mag-check ng marami. May mga questions naman na single response. Isa lang pipiliin mo, but this one is multiple. Yun ang sinasabi ko, pag ikaw ay nagsasurvey, dapat yung instructions ay clear. Kasi pag wala ditong instruction na you may check those that apply to you, walang ganitong instruction, malilito mga respondents. Ang check nila isa lang. Okay, nagtaka ng result, nagtataka bakit isa lang chinekan nila. Hindi malinaw ang iyong instruction. Ay mga reason bakit pinapacheck natin ang mga questions ninyo, no? Para malaman kung may kulang pa or wala nang kulang. And okay, after this one, we are now moving my slide. Ito naman yung sample ng isang open-ended questionnaire. Open-ended, ito yung qualitative. So pag mag-check lang sila, that is what we call the quantitative type of survey of research. Pero pag ang question ay open-ended, sorry for the spelling, what? Kulang ng letter H, no? What is the most common online shopping risk that you encountered? So this one is an open-ended type of question. Open-ended kasi nga, wala kang pagpipilian dito. Ikaw yung magbibigay ng sagot. So you can answer this one in whatever you want. You can write a phrase, you can write a sentence, kung anong risk ang encountered, no? So you can write here isa lang, you can write here 2 types of risk na encountered mo. So walang choices dito. So kaya open-ended siya. Pag may choices, those are close-ended. Pero pag walang choices like this one, this is example of open-ended format questionnaire, no? Sa mga respondents, okay to kasi nga kung anong naisip nila na encountered talaga, ito yung susulat nila dito. So they can write as many as they want dito, no? Now on the part of the researchers, medyo matagal. Kasi nga, example, you have 100 respondents. So you can imagine, no? You can imagine ang dami ng mga sagot nila dito. You can have like 100 responses as well. Hindi tulad dito sa quantitative, ang choices 8 lang no? So madaling i-tabulate. Dito, iba-ibang sagot. Although mga sagot nila pare-parehas lang, kaya lang siyempre, babasa mo lahat 'yon kung talagang related. So i-classify mo sila. Diyan mahirap yung when I surveyed in my PhD. Gumamit ako ng qualitative research. So ang daming sagot ng mga respondents, no? So natagalan ako, guys, no? Sa pag-classify ng mga magkakapareha sa sagot ng mga respondents. Kasi babasahin mo sa isa kung talagang magka-connect yung mga sagot nila, then pagsamasamahin mo sila. Now, on the part of the researcher, ito yung madali lang siya kasi madali na mag-tabulate, no? Bibilangin mo lang. So you can generalize kung ilan. Dito kasi hindi mo siya pwedeng present sa table. Ito kasi naka-table type pag present po sa chapter 4, naka-table siya. Example, frequency, tapos yung percentage, tapos yung ranking. Pero sa qualitative research tulad nito, hindi mo siya pwedeng tabulate ng data. Hindi siya pinipresent sa table like frequency, percentage, tapos questionnaire. Matagal to, no? So dito ang ginagawa natin, we classify them. So hindi sa table, instead we're using narrative sa ganitong klase ng research. Nagkikwento ka, no? O maraming tanong dito, so anong ginagamit natin sa anong ginagamit natin sa survey? O pag qualitative, hindi lahat ay may table, lahat ay may choices. Sorry. Pag quantitative, may table. Nakapresent doon yung mga choices, then the frequency, the percentage, then the ranking. Pag quantitative. Pag qualitative, how do we present qualitative? We present this in narrative format, in paragraph format, no? Pag sinabi nating qualitative type of research, isa anong ginagamit natin? Okay, pwedeng quantitative technique, pwedeng qualitative technique. Pero ang pinapagamit ko pag sa mga magre-research na kayo next year, ang pinapagamit natin di quali-quanti. Pag sinabing quali-quanti, that is what we call the mixed method. Pag sa mixed method, ito yung questions 1 to 6, for example, ay quantitative. May mga choices. Samantalang question number 7 is qualitative. Wala siyang choices. Right? Example of qualitative research. What are the recommendations of the respondents when it comes to online shopping? O sila magre-recommend, no? So that is a qualitative type of research. What are the problems encountered? Example ito, what is the most common online shopping risk encountered? Isusulat mo dito yung sagot mo. So, medyo matagal na pa the researcher kasi nga, ang dami niyang itatabulate. O, yun, pinagkaiba ng dalawang types of research. Alright, so I don't have slide anymore. Thank you for attending sa ating klase. And again, sorry for this one, kasi we're doing this. I am just presenting a video for you guys. Once again, don't forget to subscribe sa aking channel. Maraming salamat everyone. Thank you.